not have guessed that. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining the 37th Annual General Meeting of Grandview Children's Center and the 27th Annual General Meeting of Grandview Children's Foundation. Welcome to those in the room and welcome to those on our live feed today. Today's meeting will proceed with our guest speaker, and then we will have two special presentations, first from Empowered Kids Ontario, followed by the Grandview Power of One Award. The AGM proceedings from the agenda will then follow. To begin, I'd like to draw your attention to the screen.
It's a really warm, comforting feeling knowing that there's somebody out there that's not just looking out for a client, but looking out for the whole family. We really appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you, you guys. You didn't need to do that. That was really sweet. To me, Alex's success means that he's moving towards independence, that there's less strain and stress for their family and for Alex. It also means that he's able to access his community, his home, a lot more easily. What drives my passion for my profession, I think, is enabling change and enabling families to make their own change as well, too. I think as an OT, we can do a lot of hand-holding, but ultimately, if we can coach the families to be their own therapists and help enable change for their own kids, that's like the best thing ever.
The power of the work that we do at Grandview is fueled by a team that is deeply connected to purpose and the mission, vision, and values of Grandview. And it's such a pleasure to highlight in these video moments how the team and families discuss that connection. Now on to our guest speaker. This year's annual general meeting guest speaker is someone we're working very closely with at Grandview. We're working intensely in our design development work, preparing to build the new Grandview. A principal at Park and Architect, Lynn Orson Will is, Lynn Wilson Orr is an architect and interior designer with a particular interest and expertise in the design and delivery of women and children's health facilities. She is an accomplished medical facilities planner and designer who focuses on conceptual planning, space programming, and design. Lynn has worked on projects ranging from master plans to additions and renovations, ranging across Ontario's leading pediatric hospitals, including Sick Kids, CHEO, and McMaster Children's Hospital. In addition, she has worked on multiple children's treatment centers as both the principal in charge and lead clinical planner, as well as many renovation projects of pediatric units within community hospitals, including pediatric ambulatory care, child, adolescent, inpatient, and outpatient mental health, pediatric oncology units, neonatal intensive care units, and pediatric ICU. In addition to participating in the creation of multiple international guideline documents for children's health care. Lynn is a member of CSA's Strategic Steering Committee on Healthcare and Well-Being and the Public Health Agency of Canada Committee to revise the Family-Centered Maternal Newborn Care Guidelines of Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lynn Wilson Orr. There we go. So, just to advance the slides is either the arrow or enter.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll leave that where it is. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really delighted to be here, to see everybody here. We were very pleased to be asked to talk about the development of the new Grandview Children's Treatment Center and to show you some of the things that we're working on and give you a glimpse of what the future will be. And I'm a little shorter than some other people are, so I'll come closer in the hope.
You've got the feed on the podium, so you're okay.
All right. Okay. So, We've been working on this project for over a year, and one of the things that we are very passionate about is building buildings that are designed for the users who will be there, to make sure that the buildings support you in what you do rather than be a detriment. We don't want you to have to work around the building. We want you to enjoy the building. We want it to become part of the therapeutic process. And for that reason, we get pretty passionate about working with children and working with families and understanding that hope is a major element of what you do every day, whether you're a board member, a foundation member, or somebody who works at Grandview. And it's important that we all remember, discover, and to embrace the world and to look at it through the eyes of a child, and to remember that every child has potential, but they need to feel as though they belong within a facility. So it has to be designed to fit their scale, to fit their needs, to fit their abilities. It can't be something where children feel uncomfortable, but at the same time it has to be a space where families and where staff feel comfortable as well, so that you can have celebrations like today and the children can be part of that, and they can feel as though it's not just the big things that get celebrated, it's also the little things. Because for a lot of our children, it's not big accomplishments. They're big for them, but the rest of the world might not see it that way. So it's really important that we have spaces, we have buildings that celebrate their abilities, not somebody else's abilities. So this is the site. I think you've already seen. It's a fairly unusual shape site on Harwood Avenue. And we're working very closely as both the interior design and the exterior design team to create a building that will be a welcoming location in terms of the Children's Treatment Center and also the Campbell's Children's School. So I'm going to show you a wide variety of different slides today, looking at what the outside of the building looks like, looking at what the inside of the building will look like, some planning, some sketches, and just trying to talk about where some of these ideas came from as well. So we really looked at the site. We don't sort of take a drawing out of a drawer and say, oh, well, this is a standard children's treatment center. This building is designed specifically for this site, and it couldn't exist anywhere else. So we looked at the animals and the landscape, because you have this wonderful site with that woodlot. And we looked at those as the sort of key ideas of what we would use to create a building that would meet the needs of the children, the parents, the staff, and the community, and make sure that it fits within its community. So you can see that there's a lot of color on the exterior of the building. There's bright colors, but the colors are chosen from nature. So you'll see that a lot of the colors on the exterior, you see the blue, which is the streams and the water that are in the area, the oranges that are the leaves of trees in the fall. But these colors are not just chosen from nature, they're also chosen from Grandview Children's corporate colors as well. So making sure that we're integrating all of these things into what we're doing. And the exterior design of this building is absolutely unique for one very key element that you will see in this slide. In the many, many years that I have been an architect, I have never designed a building with a slide as one of the exits from it. So it's a little hard to see in this rendering, but there is this gorgeous, almost 18-foot high slide that will come down from the therapeutic terrace. So, you know, very important that we have therapeutic playgrounds, but also important that the building itself become part of the therapy. So we're looking at that and looking at wrapping these colors all the way around the exterior of the building. And the building is built, or will be built, of very durable materials, because we understand that this isn't something where, you know, you're going to get another building in 10 years. This building has to last. It has to stand up, and it has to look as good in 20 or 25 years as it does on opening day. So it's got to be built from very durable materials. So masonry, phenolic panels, curtain wall. It's not the kind of building where, you know, it's not like a retail mall. We don't do retail malls, by the way. We do buildings like this as a firm because we believe that that these are different, they're important, and they're key to what we refer to as social architecture. So making sure that we are creating buildings that suit the needs of people in a wide variety of different ways. So you'll start to see on the exterior of the building, there's a lot of circles. There's circular windows, there's circular openings, and those are taken from the inside of the building as well. But you'll see them as part of the landscape design, which is all based around the ideas of the natural environment. So it's not all, plastic and metal, the sort of thing that you see in a lot of typical playgrounds. You'll see a lot of wooden aspects to it in terms of the construction of some of the play elements, but you'll also see things like willow arches, because those are things that change over time, and they grow and they develop, and they're the sort of thing that kids can really explore in a wide variety of different ways. So you can see the different types of gardens and play areas that there will be around the building. And then the most amazing part will be this sensory trail going up into the woodlot, and the opportunities that will have to take the activities from inside the building to the outside of the building as well, so that children can learn in a wide variety of different ways, because children don't all learn the same way. Adults don't either. Some of us are visual learners, some of us are kinesthetic learners. And we want to give children opportunities to learn in the way that they're most comfortable with, and to explore their environment in ways that they're comfortable with. So you can see that we've got rubber surfaces, we've got gardens, we've got natural surface play areas, we've got challenge areas as well, so that children can learn to develop their abilities for what they will see in other kinds of environment, but they can learn how to do that in a safe environment at Grandview. So some of the different areas of the play areas, they're all designed to be fully accessible, and that doesn't mean, one of those play structures where there's a couple of little things down at grade that are there for the kids that use wheelchairs and walkers. They're completely integrated, because that's just not fair. And there's nothing like being the only person who can't climb to the top of the play structure. So we don't look at environments like that. We had a huge challenge with one area of the building design, and that was the pool, and the requirement to get light and views into the pool. And we thought we had it pretty well figured out. We had something like those windows up there, and we were told, nope, that's not sufficient. The children need to be able to see outside, and they need to be able to connect to the environment. So we created a sunken garden immediately adjacent to the therapy pool. And to me, that's turned out to be one of the really key elements of this building, is the fact that you can discover something. Nobody else can see it, and it's only when you go into the pool or you're going into the school. From the school entry, you'll get a bit of a view, but if you're in the pool, then you'll be able to see this garden that nobody else can. And it includes a number of the animals sculptures that we're using elsewhere in the building. So then looking at the sensory trail as well, where hopefully children will encounter the rabbits and the turtles, but not the snakes that live on the site. Well, at least I don't want to encounter the snakes, so. And then just, taking these ideas of nature and how can we incorporate those into the building. So looking at the interior planning and the elements of that, and how we tied the interior of the building to the exterior of the building. So we had a number of key themes, one of which was nature. So we were looking at the idea of dens, hollows, nests, textures. How can we incorporate that into the design so that it becomes a place that children want to explore every time they are here? And then looking at making it safe in every way. So safe from discrimination, physically safe, so that materials are comfortable. There are, slip-resistant floors. We've got rubber flooring in the gymnasium, so if you fall, it's not a super hard floor, something like this. It's got some padding to it. And understanding how important that is for everyone, and making sure that it is 100% inclusive, because the last thing we want is something that says children go this way, adults go this way, or the able-bodied go this way, and everybody else goes this way. So the building is fully accessible and inclusive to all. And we developed a series of these interior landmarks using the animals that live on the site, and then we've translated these into icons that we use throughout the interior in terms of the wayfinding and the signage, and doing it in such a way that there's a story behind these, so that if it is the birds that are over on the right side, these are the ones that are used for the adult spaces. So there's that owl, the hummingbird, the woodpecker, and then the animals that are used in other areas are animals that children are going to be very able to identify with. So when in the future, I hope you will see that the fox runs up the side of the feature stair in the main lobby, and the turtle is in the medical and other professional services. So these icons appear within the public spaces of the building, and then also appear within specific departments to identify them. There's a lot of slides here. I really don't expect you to look at the plans and say, oh, well, what is that room? Just to say that this is going to be very different because it's a 4-story building, and your buildings now are all single floors. So how you move through the building, how you experience the building, how you understand how to go from one place to another is really important. So we use a lot of color, a lot of graphics, a lot of landmarks. We don't depend strictly on signage to get you through the building. So this incorporates some of those nature photographs that I was talking about, some images from some of the areas. They're looking quite washed out on this screen, and that's something that happens all the time because computers are always not calibrated differently in terms of color. So this one, it looks just fine. If you can see this, or if you're looking online, it's really bright and colorful, but unfortunately on this one, it's washing out. And then looking at, the main lobby, so we've taken that idea of circles. We've got circular seats on the perimeter of the building. We've got a tunnel that leads to a circular seat, and we carry those ideas all the way through the building. So lights that are used to emphasize an area are done in a circular pattern as well. And as I said, we're using the colors taken from the Grandview corporate colors to make sure that we've got continuity through the building, we've got a coherent interior, and also that we've got one that's exciting and vibrant at the same time. So as you walk in the main door, the first thing you will see as you come into that vestibule is you'll look through that double-sided fireplace into the Family Resource Center. So it will be warm and welcoming. You might not turn the fireplace on with the temperatures that we've got these days, but in the winter time, it will be very warm and welcoming. So these are some of the things that we're using. This is our toolkit of parts. So, wayfinding patterns, wall murals, flooring materials, and using those to help people understand the building as they move through it. So this is just a view of the elevators on the first floor, just giving you a sense of the amount of color and vibrancy that there will be in the space. And the clarity to the space, because that's really important. You don't want spaces you get lost in. You want to easily be able to go from one space to another. So this is the toolkit of parts that we use at departmental entrances, and all 10 departments will have one of these entrances. So large-scale murals, the animal icon, the lights, a place to sit and rest, and then some bright colors. That what looks like beige in the middle is actually a really beautiful peach color, so I promise you they'll be more vibrant than what you're seeing here. And this is the pool, and this is the view to the garden. So this you will really only see from the pool area. You can see the parent viewing space, and then there is access out into that garden. Bright colors of flowers, bird houses, animal sculptures within the garden, and lots of opportunity to be able to sit outside and enjoy that space. And then just looking at some of the other areas of the building. So as I said, it is a 4-story building. However, it's only going to appear to be about 3 stories in certain parts of the building because of the slope to the site. So you come in at level 1 into the Children's Treatment Center, and you come in at level 2, but also at grade into Campbell Children's School. So it will provide a seamless experience for families and for children. The 2-story gymnasium space, again, you see the circular patterns in the windows. Lots of opportunity for people to see into this space as well. Because one of the things that we've learned is we don't want to hide children away. We want them to be able to connect to their community and their community to connect to them. And then an image from the school. Level 3, this is the most intense therapeutic level of the building with autism, the second part of center-wide therapy, medical and other professional services, and the partnership space. But just taking those same ideas with the tunnels and the circles and the circular lights and carrying them through the whole building so that there's that similarity and that ease for children to understand that when they come to one of these, they know that this is an entrance and they know that they're welcome. And then level 4, which is going to be much quieter, which is all of the, not all of the administration space, most of the administration space and the clinical workspaces, and giving them a quieter environment, but at the same time bringing a lot of light into the space. So all of the offices are within the center of the building, and then the workstations around the perimeter to bring as much of color into the space as possible. And then just some of the colors that we're looking at and trying to make sure that we're also being respectful of people's needs to be able to identify the planes of the space that they're in. A lot of children with autism are more intensely affected by color than some other children are. So because they're bombarded with information all the time, they see color differently from the way the rest of us do. So we're looking at balancing these colors as well so that it's not all color. There are areas of respite for your eyes as well. And looking at how we carry that through all of the spaces for that, idea of consistency. The school and using some different colors. And then the clinical spaces and making sure that in the clinical spaces we're respectful of the needs of the therapists so that color happens in corridors, doesn't necessarily happen with a great deal of intensity within an actual therapy space. And then the staff spaces. This owl's looking a little intense, which is not the intention, that the staff spaces would actually be calmer, quieter colors to act as a bit of a respite from the rest of the building. And then bringing all of this together so that we remember that it is the children and the families, but it's also staff who work here very long hours and making sure that it's a really good working environment for them as well, because we need to build them up and give them the spaces that they need in order to be able to do their jobs really well. So this is what it's going to look like. It's not quite there yet, but you will start to see work happening on the site this fall. So thank you very much.
So thank you so much, Lynn. Hopefully you can understand why we're so excited to see this dream emerging, and it is just an absolute delight to work with Lynn. So thank you. This is for you.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much. Lots of color, which I
yes,
know you like.
It's perfect.
Thank you so much, Lynn. We really appreciate it. So it's now my pleasure to introduce Jennifer Churchill, who is the CEO of Empowered Kids Ontario. As CEO of Empowered Kids Ontario, Jennifer leads the association through a significant period of growth and change, as the province continues to innovate in its approaches to the delivery of community-based health care in child development and rehabilitation. She is respected as a collaborative partner by colleagues in a sector for which Ontario is known across Canada and around the world as a leader in both child disability research and care. During her tenure at EKO, the association has modernized its governance, expanded its membership, and developed relationships that ensure EKO's voice represents a broad range of stakeholders. Jennifer joined EKO after more than 25 years in the health and government sectors. She has a degree in social work, a master's certificate in municipal management, and executive leadership certification. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Churchill.
To talk about you. So anyhow, thanks, Lorraine, and thanks to all of you for the invitation to attend today. It does feel very weird to do in-person things, and I had my own COVID screening done by like Dr. Hunt because I couldn't figure out how to do the online stuff in the hall. So anyhow, at EKO, our board and our staff call this time the best time of year for two reasons. One is that it's the annual meeting season, and in the old-fashioned days, I used to go around and actually get to see everybody. And we're starting to do that again. And, you know, being able to connect with everybody is something that I miss an awful lot. But the second reason is that we get to talk to you about our EKO scholarship program. Post-secondary education and career training is an important element for achieving independence. Yet people with disabilities are less likely to attend and complete programs than those without disabilities. Our hope is that our EKO scholarship awards help more students with disabilities achieve the life that they want through post-secondary education or career training. Our program has become increasingly competitive over the years. On our review committee and our board, we don't have an easy job. This year we actually had the most applications we've ever had. We had 24. We've learned that we have stellar applicants all across the province. Yeah, Daniela, like 24. And you know, when we ask people to help evaluate, they come in unknowingly thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be a really easy thing, take me about an hour. No, it takes you about an entire weekend. So it's especially noteworthy this year that something has happened for the first time in the history of our scholarships. We actually have been able to award 2 scholarships to 1 EKO member. So this is the first time ever we actually have 2 Grandview recipients. Tonight we are going to celebrate Daniela Altieri. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Daniela because her application was remarkable on 24. So on her first day of high school, Daniela says her mom encouraged her to spend the next 4 years showing her teachers and administrators how strong she is academically. And she did just that, making the honor roll and being accepted to every college program she applied for. Daniela not only exceeds academically, she shares her time with others as a volunteer for Easter Seals Ontario and for the Starlight Children's Foundation. Her passion is to give back, and it's not just all work for Daniela. She plays sledge hockey for the Durham Steelhawks and played for Team Ontario East in the Ontario Paralympic Games. She's also passionate about wheelchair basketball. And she's going to be studying at Durham College. She's set on being a kindergarten teacher at a school like Campbell School right here at Grandview, or the brand new Campbell School in the beautiful pictures that we saw. That would be, as one of Daniela's teachers said, exceptional. So congratulations, Daniela. We're proud to name you a 2022 EKO Scholar. So I have something for you because we send the money to the school and it feels like I can't give you anything. So I have something little for you. Would you like to say something? I'm sure everyone would love to hear from you. Like I said, if you don't like it, because you're not used to chocolate, you can take it back. So thanks so much. Over to you.
I just want to say a big thank you. This will help me with my revision and everything. I never knew time. When I was younger, time would go by so slow. And then I'm in grade 12, and it's where did the time go? So yes.
Congratulations, Daniela. So great. The next is our Power of One Award, and this Grandview Award recipient is recognized for going above and beyond to help children and youth and their families achieve their personal best. This nomination is very special as it comes from the families directly. And in this case, this particular recipient it actually came from multiple families who nominated the same individual. This year's recipient is Janika Agost, speech and language therapy assistant who also supports our research work. Janika, please join me as we review your nomination and highlight your accomplishments. Come on up and hear what people had to say. Prior to joining Grandview, Janika received her BA in Disability Studies and Psychology from the University of Windsor and her Communicative Disorders Assistant Graduate Certificate from Durham College. Janika worked at a variety of organizations as a Communicative Disorders Assistant and Speech-Language Pathology Assistant and a behavior therapist. Janika started her career at Grandview just last year, during COVID and amidst all the associated complexities, and in that year she has made such a significant contribution. Janika's nomination came from one of her many happy client families, the DeMarios family, who wished to share with us some of the reasons why Janika has made such a difference in the life of their child. The full nomination will be shared with you, but I'd like to summarize some of the comments. They said, "She was able to connect with my child by uncovering what interested him and encouraging positive changes to his speech through those interests and activities. By doing so, she was able to really connect with him, which is very important to his development. After the sessions with Janika, we saw ongoing and continued positive change in his speech. For our family, she provided us with specific coaching opportunities based on each session and encouraged the family to actively focus on those opportunities that would positively impact his goals. The improvement in his speech has benefited our child and our entire family. When it was determined that our child would require more sessions, we specifically requested Janika due to the connection and positive impact she's had on our child and ultimately our family. As both of our children will be entering junior kindergarten in September, having Janika on our journey to get them ready is important. She is passionate and dedicated to her work with my child and his well-being. So in summary, and in the words of the Grandview family, they said, "I couldn't imagine being on this journey with anyone else." Janika, thank you for your service to Grandview. That's okay. And for all you do each and every day to advance the mission, vision, and values of Grandview Children's Center. We are pleased to present you with the Power of One Award. This is for you from the Grandview family. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
Hi, everyone. Trying to get my emotions together. I just want to say thank you. I've been so supported by my staff, my colleagues, my managers, and of course the families that I work with. I see you, Mary. I'm just so happy to be here to share my passion and support as many kids and families as I can. So thank you.
So nice. So I would now invite any guests who are not remaining for the AGM. If you would like to exit, you're welcome to, but you're of course welcome to stay for the official proceedings of the AGM. Go ahead. Take care. So it's my pleasure now to commence the official proceedings of the annual general meeting. We are delighted to be joined by all of you in person or live streaming and wish to send a special thank you to our Ministry of Children and Social Services colleagues. Tonight, we are pleased to have Jeremy Harness, our Vice Chair, take over the proceedings as our Chair, Denise Jones, is away. So without further ado, I would like to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, Vice Chair Jeremy Harness.
Thank you, Lorraine. And thank you for everyone for being here today. I appreciate everyone's participation in this important meeting of the members of Grandview's Children's Center. I'd like to call the 37th Annual General Meeting of Grandview Children's Center to order. The notice of this annual general meeting was provided in accordance with the bylaw of Grandview Children's Center. Please remember that board trustees are the elected voting members, and as such are the members who may move, second, and vote on motions during the meeting. So we'll start by introducing the Board of Trustees. The Executive Board, Denise Jones, who is the Chair of the Board, unfortunately can't be here today. Myself, Jeremy Harness, the Vice Chair of the Board, as well as Chair of the Board Building Committee. Catherine Switzer, Chair of the Priorities and Performance Committee. Erin Watson, Secretary and Chair of the Governance Excellence Committee. And Terry Caputo, Treasurer and Chair of the Finance and Facilities Committee. And we also have our 2021-22 Board of Trustees. I'll read it off the screen there because it's in a different order than what's on my screen here. So, Natalie Sims, Leo Plu, Kalyan Chatabarty, Lisa Davey, Maria Grant, and Brian Yetman, the trustee and also the chair of Grandview's Foundation Board of Directors. We also have community representatives that sit in our meetings regularly and obviously very appreciative of their support as well. Audrey Andrew, Carolyn Treadgold, Lindsay Coolidge, Raquel Moxham Shaw, Barbara Milana Scott, Jonathan Dixon, James Ibbett, and Maria Taylor. And of course, staff that support everything that we do. So obviously starting with our CAO, Lorraine Sunster-Mann, Dr. Carolyn Hunt, Medical Director and Developmental Pediatrician, Leslie Sweet, Director of Clinical Services, Harry Deeg, Director of Finance and Administration, Taryn Eckmeyer, the Interim Director of Strategic Communications, Partnerships and Engagement, Alfred Ing, Director of Quality, Risk and Continuous Improvement, Burgess Schinkel, Executive Director of the Foundation, and Kelly O'Connor, Executive Assistant. So I'll now motion that the Grandview Board of Trustees approves the minutes of the 36th Annual General Meeting of Grandview Children's Center, which was held on June 24th, 2021. Second by Aaron, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. We'll now move to the report of the Treasurer, so I'd like to call on Terry Caputo, Chair of the Finance and Facilities Committee, to give you the Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Jeremy. It is my pleasure to be here today to provide the report of the Treasurer for the year ended March 31st, 2022. And so the reason we see that the difference between 22-21 versus 21-22 is we operate on a fiscal year, same year as government, which runs from April 1st to March 31st of the next year. And so in terms of some highlights, please note that the summary details are included in the annual report, and further details are included in the audited financial statements made available today. Overall revenue increased by $5.3 million, largely resulting from the increased funding from the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. This included funding for community-based rehabilitation services, preschool language and speech, school-based rehabilitation, and the Ontario Autism Program. Revenue from purchased services program also increased substantially to over $900,000. Next slide, please. In terms of overall our expenses, from a salary perspective, we had an increase in salaries. Now, the increase in revenue was used to hire additional staff and increase our service delivery across all programs. This increased staffing accounts for approximately $2.85 million increase in salaries. Our benefits, along with salaries, as salaries increase, benefits tend to increase proportionally, and so we had increased cost of $430,000 aligned with the corresponding compensation. Supplies and operating costs, the main driver of costs were expenses associated with service providers and partnerships, and supplies and equipment. This increase in costs supported the entry to school and caregiver mediated autism programs. The higher expenses also supported school-based rehabilitation services in the Scarborough area. IT costs increased as Grandview continued services in a virtual environment. So now there's a motion, and so the motion that the audited financial statements for 2021-22 and the report of the treasurer be approved as presented. Casey? Maria? I believe all in favor, and I'm sure there are none opposed, and so that would be my report, Jeremy. Now, would you like me to do the appointment of auditors? We have auditors too. So our auditors for our year-end financial statement is the firm of KPMG. And so for the fiscal year, so the motion to appoint the firm of KPMG be appointed as auditors of the center until the next annual general meeting or until successors shall be duly appointed. Leo and Lisa, all in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none? Thank you.
Great, thank you, Terry. I will now call on Erin Watson, Chair of the Governance Excellence Committee, to give her report on the election of trustees for the 2022-2023 term.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jeremy. Following the completion of full terms on the Grandview board, one vacancy did exist for the end of Denise Jones' term. However, we do have the ability to extend the term for a trustee by 1 year in required circumstances. So I'm just going to read out our bylaws. Article 3.03 states that each of the trustees shall be elected for a term of up to 3 years. No person may be elected a trustee for more terms than will constitute 6 consecutive years of service. A trustee, however, may be granted an extension of 1 additional year when circumstances support the exception. The current chair of the board may be granted an extension under the title of past chair for the extension of the 1 additional year, which the circumstances currently support this exception. The Governance Excellence Committee unanimously carried and approved a 1-year extension with the Board of Trustees. Denise Jones, who will maintain her role as chair of the CEO Succession Planning Committee, but will step down as chair of the board through our April 21st, 2022 meeting. The Governance Excellence Committee is fortunate to be recommending a very strong slate of candidates for the 2022-2023 year. I move that the following individuals be appointed as the Grandview Children's Center's Board of Trustees for the 2022-2023 year. And I will set them out here, hopefully in the same order. Jeremy Harness as chair, Terry Caputo as vice chair, Catherine Switzer as the trustee and chair of the Priorities and Performance Committee. Leo Ploux will be the treasurer and chair of the Finance and Facilities Committee. I, Erin Watson, will be the secretary and chair of the Governance Excellence Committee. Maria Grant will be a trustee. Lisa Davey will be a trustee. Kalyan Chakravarthi will be a trustee. Natalie Sims and Denise Jones. Oh, so I'd like to, do I have to point that? Did I miss a page? Sorry. I think I might have missed a page, excuse me. So, Brian Yatman, trustee and chair of the board of the Grandview Children's Foundation. Sorry, Brian. It was the clip. I'm taking it off. It's okay, we're done. Thank you.
So we actually need a motion to appoint these trustees, so I'll put forward that motion. Look for a seconder. Terry, all in favor? Great, thank you. Thanks very much, Erin. An excellent slate of nominations from the Governance Excellence Committee. So I now would like to call upon the CEO of Grandview Children's Center, Lorraine Sundstrom-Mann.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's my pleasure to direct you to the online Year in Review 2021-22 for Grandview. This report is chock full of the achievements of Grandview and its clients and families, highlighting items such as our three-peat exemplary accreditation decision, the achievement of getting over 3,000 vaccines into the arms of at the Grandview Vaccine Clinic that was held right in this room, the expansion of early years programs and services, and stepping up as an early adopter of the Ontario Smart Start Hubs initiative, amongst many others. You'll find stories from families and about community partnership expansion, clinical services and medical services, and the over 120,000 appointments they provided in spite of a very complicated COVID environment this past year. You can enjoy details about collaborative research and updates from our terrific co-located partners, Campbell Children's School and the Grandview Children's Foundation. All the makings of a bestseller. So I know you're going to enjoy reading it as much as we have enjoyed achieving it. Thank you to Taryn Eichmeyer and Adrian Polidano for the creation and production of the report. And as always, it remains an absolute honor to lead this organization, and I'm incredibly proud of how we have managed to continue to advance and achieve everything we set out to, even in the COVID environment. I'd like to set up this next slide for just a moment. In my time at Grandview, the Grandview board and the center has had one groom, but this year on our board, we had the first ever board bride. And so for the slide, congratulations to Lisa and Cameron. And Lisa, we have something for you. A little something to keep the romance going. Congratulations to the newlyweds. Thank you so much. So preparing to close, I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees for their guidance, impact, and excellence in the provision of, as Leo says, foresight, insight, and oversight. Having this group of dedicated and skilled trustees continues to make the difference at Grandview, and we are so fortunate. Thank you as well to the senior team for their leadership, their trust in the vision, and their work with the leaders of Grandview, and ultimately the entire amazing Grandview staff for bringing the vision to life every day. Final thanks to Kelly for supporting not only the board day to day at meetings and events, but also for keeping the hundreds of balls in the air for me so that we can get it all done. And Kelly, I'd like you to come up. There's something for you. And it matches your outfit, which I just worked out just so well. Look at us. Thank you so much. So fittingly, we will end today where we began, with the family voice. With the video, please.
To Julie, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to say thank you so much for your kind support and your endless love for Zane and I.
That's so sweet. That's really, 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 really nice. Thank you. I decided to join Team Grandview because their focus has always remained families first. They take parents' wants and needs into consideration for their children. They know their children best, and that's a great focus to have when you're working not only with children but with their families as well too. I believe what drives my passion for my work is knowing that children are capable of so many wonderful things. Children are little wonders, and they just need to be provided opportunities to show what they can do and to achieve their full potential. And Grandview provides those kinds of opportunities.
I'd like to invite Jeremy to adjourn our meeting.
So before we adjourn, I'd like to remind the board trustees that we do have a short special meeting immediately after the completion of the agenda items from the Grandview Children's Foundation Center. So the trustees will meet in the blue portal out the back of the building for a short meeting. With that, I'd like to ask that the elected voting members adjourn the 37th annual meeting of Grandview Children's Center. Seconder, thank you. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's carried. And we are adjourned.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Before I open the meeting, I kind of feel it necessary to say I tried to pick up on a trick from my wife, knowing we were going to be getting together for the first time in many years, knowing that there was a lot of clothing in my closet that wouldn't fit. I thought I would phone my new colleague, Jeremy, to sort of just check in to see, what are you wearing? It seems to work for my spouse, obviously. Don't worry, man, no shirt, no suit, no tie. I got nothing that fits. And this is how he starts our new relationship and working together. So, all right, I see where this is all going to go. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Brian Yetman. I am the chair of Grandview Kids Foundation, or Grandview Children's Foundation, and I'd like to open the 27th annual general meeting of Grandview Children's Foundation. Bring it to order. And thank you for joining us this afternoon. So, the necessaries. The notice of the annual general meeting was provided in accordance with the bylaws of Grandview Children's Foundation. Please remember that the board of directors are the only voting members, and as such are the only members who may vote, second, and vote on motions during this meeting. Given that we have attained a quorum of voting members, I do declare this meeting duly constituted. So I'm pleased to introduce our 2021-2022 board of directors, along with the foundation staff team. The foundation board is as follows: myself as chair, Steve Leslie as our treasurer and board and chair of the finance committee, David Toswell, director and chair of the governance excellence committee, and interim chair of the investment committee, Kate Black, director, Mike Foreman, director, Monica Foley, director, Steve Curry, you guessed it, director, Denise Jones, chair of the Grandview Children's Center's board of trustees, and I think that should be corrected to Jeremy, yes, correct? Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. Once again, keeping me in check. I appreciate it, Lorraine. And of course, would like to thank the excellent staff at the foundation and introduce Bridget Schinkel, who's our executive director, Brandy Reed, Bobby Penny, and Andrea Shearson, and also with a heartfelt thank you to Andrea Belanger and Abby Valenciano from the Grandview Children's Center Family Engagement Team for their additional support in leading the Family Ambassador Program. Also, I'd like to make some special recognition to the Center Financial Support Services team, Harry Deeg, Taylor Goods Vanchi, Brittany Rebello, and also, of course, Lorraine. I'd like to thank Lorraine Sundstrom-Mann, CEO of Grandview Children's Center, and as well the entire center staff team for their contributions throughout the year in supporting the foundation's work. I'd like to seek approval of the 26th annual general meeting minutes, which was held on June 24th, 2021. May I have a mover? Mr. Toswell, and a seconder? Monica Foley, thank you very much. Oh, you were beat to it there, Steve. But nice, I'm glad to know that you're here. I heard you introduced, so you're up shortly. So we have a mover, we have a seconder for the motion to approve the 26th annual general meeting minutes. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing and hearing none, we'll consider those carried. Thank you very much. Fantastic. So now I'd like to introduce Steve Leslie, whose voice you heard come through the phone here, who wasn't able to join us as he's in just out there in Nova Scotia, and he's going to present our treasurer's report. And of course, Steve, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
That's great. Thanks, Brian. You can hear me okay?
Yes. And if you need anything, I'll stay in here and sort of try to be air traffic control if I can for you.
That it is wonderful to have you working for me, Brian. Wonderful. Hey, everybody, and it's great to join you. I'm speaking to you from beautiful Pictou County, Nova Scotia, where it's beautiful and sunny there today. So It's a great day. And I'd like to introduce and thank the members of the Finance Committee first. David Toswell, Director, Steve Curry, Director, and Community Representative Sean Donaldson, who joined the committee this year, or rejoined the committee this year. And a very special thank you to Steve Rollins, who recently retired from the committee, for his longtime contributions to the Finance Committee and to Grandview Kids. I'd also like to introduce and thank the Investment Committee, David Toswell, Interim Chair, Brian Yetman, Board Chair and Director, Mike Foreman, Director, Steve Curry, Director, and staff support for both committees is provided by Bridget Schinkel, Executive Director, and as of March 2022, the Center Financial Support Services team, Harry Deeg, Director of Finance and Administration, Taylor Goods-Vanshee, Financial Analyst, and Brittany Rebello, Business Coordinator. I would also like to introduce Don Flett of Don Flett and Associates, who is appointed as the auditor for Grandview Children's Foundation for 2021-2022. And I believe Dawn is in the room today, is she not? She is indeed. Hello, Dawn, and welcome. I am pleased to provide a brief report on the financial matters of the Foundation for fiscal 22. The Foundation continues to grow assets substantially in anticipation of our contributions toward the new Grandview and sustaining its operations. We are pleased to advise that the Foundation Board and management continue to evolve our governance and financial oversight in concert with the growth in our assets. Fiscal 22 total revenue was $2.6 million, a 20% increase over fiscal 21. This was largely driven by increased restricted revenues related to the Believe campaign. Restricted revenue grew to $1.9 million this year. Operating revenue, which sustains our in-year activities and provides for our in-year donation to Grandview Children's Center and Campbell's Children's School, was $648,000. As we are in campaign mode, we continue to see a donor preference to give for restricted purposes, Believe campaign purposes, versus annual operating. While this is expected at present, the Foundation remains very committed to building the annual operating revenue in a way to sustain giving, an important component, as we won't always be in campaign mode. Expenses this year increased by $103,000 year over year to a total of $392,000. This was largely as a result of investments in our staffing and professional fees, all related to the ongoing delivery of our Believe campaign. The board and management will continue to remain vigilant on expense growth, notably as we enter into the next and final campaign phases. The overall grant to the center this year totaled just over $71,000. While the Foundation was prepared to provide the center with a larger grant in fiscal 22, the center has been able to avail of specialized public funds over the past 2 years, which have provided crucial funding. The Foundation remains committed to working with the center on a frequent and ongoing basis to continue to provide substantial annual operating grants, balanced with our commitment to raise $20 million in support of our Believe campaign. On our statement of financial position or balance sheet, I would just like to note the continued growth of our investments, now totaling just over $9 million, primarily driven by our restricted assets, as we talked about in revenue, which support our capital and strategic priorities, or the Believe campaign. Our investments are managed conservatively, overseen by our investment committee, driven by compliance with our Foundation's investment policy statement, and in accordance with the stewardship wishes of our donors. A few campaign highlights. As many of you in the room know, our campaign is not just about building a new facility. It's also about building capacity. In addition to increasing our physical capacity to serve more children, we will be increasing our program capacity. And we're thrilled to announce that we've raised currently over $17 million to date toward our $20 million campaign goal. That's $17 million in pledges and $9 million in the bank. We've made tremendous strides with the help of Jerry Coughlin's tremendous gifts, a gift of $5 million, the $1 million grant from Canadian Tire Jumpstart Charities, our significant partnership with McDonald's Durham Region, and other partners such as all municipalities in our coverage area and the region of Durham itself. Insurance brokers from across Durham Region, Durham Rotary Clubs, financial institutions, signature fundraising events, and commitments from individuals, businesses, all covering the area that Grandview serves. We thank and we are incredibly grateful to the community for their incredible support throughout the year, and we know this will continue in the years to come. This concludes the report of the Treasurer. Are there any questions for me or our auditor?
There does not appear to be, Steve.
Cool, that's great. I would like to then make a motion that the audited financial statements of Grandview Children's Foundation for 2021-2022 and the report of the Treasurer be approved as presented. Can I have a seconder?
Kate Black.
All those in favor? Brian,
Yeah,
I'm
everyone
assuming
seems
we're
to be in
good.
favor. Yeah.
That's good. That's great. And so I'll just go on to the appointment of auditor. So as the foundation grows in assets and complexity, the board and management continue to evolve our relationships that provide governance and finance support services. In fiscal 22, we struck a new partnership agreement with the center to provide direct finance support services to the foundation, leveraging the power of their professional resources, insights, and reporting system. Similarly, our investment committee continues to grow their professional expertise, both internally and externally to the foundation, and deepen and evolve their oversight mandate. As you are aware, the center moved audit resources to KPMG LLP last year. For the fiscal 22 year, the foundation was very comfortable to retain the services of Don Flett and Associates, our auditor for the past 27 years. Don Flett has served the foundation tremendously well. For fiscal 23, given the closeness of our financial services support partnership with the center, as well as the increasing need for the foundation to seek broad, national, not-for-profit industry, tax, and legal expertise, the board is recommending we now align our audit relationship with that of the center. I am pleased to report that this decision has been thoroughly discussed and has received the very professional input of Don Flett, whose perspective and advice the foundation is so fortunate to continue to benefit. Therefore, I would like to move that the firm of KPMG LLP be appointed as the auditor for Grandview Children's Foundation until the next annual general meeting or until their successors are duly appointed. May I have a seconder?
David Toswell.
Are there any questions on the motion?
Does not appear to be any.
Okay. All in favor?
Yeah.
Brian, are we
looks
good?
to be in favor. Do you want to seek opposition?
Any opposed?
Seeing none.
The motion is carried. Thanks, Brian. And now I have a really special and important duty. I would now like to recognize an incredible friend and longtime friend and supporter in Dawn Fleck for her contributions over the years. Dawn has been our auditor for 27 years since the foundation was first constituted. She was she's been our auditor since our incorporation in 1995. In fact, Dawn made the first donation to our capital campaign on December 30th, 2008, when we were beginning this journey toward the new Grandview. And Lorraine is probably thinking, well, in essence, I think our journey began before that even, but 2008 was still a memorable and long time ago. Dawn continues to be an annual donor. She has always put the organization and Grandview families at the top of her mind, has always made herself available to answer any question, anytime, even around tax reporting anomalies and Canada Revenue Agency. And she never stops. She cares tremendously about our community. And she didn't just think in her recommendations about the money and the transactions and the accounting specifics as good auditors do, but she was always excited to share ideas to improve Grandview. And her lens was always, how could she challenge Grandview and the foundation board and management and the finance committee to be better and to grow and evolve. And we have done that as a result of Dawn's help, guidance, and stewardship. She will be our forever friend. Bridget, I think we've got a video for Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Maybe I can elaborate on what Owen was trying to say. You have supported Grandview for a very long time and will always be a forever friend. You provided our first capital donation and have been providing for Grandview families ever since. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Help.
Oh, Dawn, you get to come up here now.
Oh, great.
We have a thank you card from us and the kids.
Made with love.
Made with love.
Thank you.
And a lovely flower arrangement, and I learned today that your favorite color is yellow. And as far as I'm concerned, the smartest and best looking people in the world love yellow because it's my favorite color. Absolutely.
Well, and don't you think it's appropriate it's a planter, since I planted the first
There you go.
donation?
Absolutely. You want to say a few words?
Sure. I said it's been a long time. I had a monumental birthday on the weekend. I turned 60. And I said between the foundation and the center, I think I have a year in auditing for every single year of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, in the school, then we're way over the top. It's been fun, you know. I've enjoyed every part of it. I've enjoyed working with everybody here and the hundreds of people I've worked with on boards and committees and over the years, and staff. everybody to keep up the pace so that we get to where we need to get to. And I'll be happy to see the new facility when it's open. So thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you. Look at that. All right, Mr.
And Dawn,
Toswell. Go ahead, Steve. Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, sorry, Brian. Dawn, if I can say personally, it's just we've enjoyed a wonderful relationship with you, and I know we will have a special relationship continuing in the future. So thank you. Thank you very much on behalf of the Finance Committee and myself. Thank you very, very much. And again, look forward to our special relationship continuing for the future.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. And
I will. Do you want me to turn it over to David?
Sure. Go ahead.
Brian, or?
Like, of all the things I have to do, I'm just here to turn pages and look good, and you're already taking the work away from me. Certainly.
So, without further ado, then I will turn it over to David Toswell, chair of our Governance Excellence Committee, to take us through the election of directors.
Thank you, Steve, and good evening or afternoon, everyone. First, again, thank you, Dawn, for all the support. You've been terrific. Bridget had a note. We only have 15 minutes, but I just want to say excitement. It's so exciting to be back in this building, the first time in literally 2.5 years. And then so exciting to hear about the new building, and kudos to Lorraine and to Harry and to the center board and all of the team. We're so excited about getting shovels in the ground and moving Grandview forward and serving the kids. And so exciting times for all of us. Very quickly, our Governance and Excellence Committee is comprised of myself, Brian Yetman, Monica Foley, and Bridget Schenkel, and supported by Bobby Joe Penny. Before I put the actual formal slate forward, again, just a quick ad lib. Last year, we virtually elected Kate Black. We actually have Kate Black here in person. We're actually going to have Kate at a board meeting in person for the first time in 2 years. So a special shout out to Kate. And then I also want to just recognize our friend on the phone who is in Nova Scotia, and who it's a little bit like Al Pacino in The Godfather Part 3. Every time I try to get out, they just keep pulling me back in. And so Steve, Leslie, thank you for putting your name forward for re-election again. It's great, and Steve has great support. And then lastly, always a thank you to our fearless leader, Mr. Yetman, who keeps us all in check and does a fabulous job of supporting not only the foundation, but all of the families and all of us and the Grandview community. So thank you, Brian. So on behalf of the Governance and Excellence Committee, I move the following individuals be elected as the Grandview Children's Foundation Board of Directors for 22-23. Brian Yetman, Steve Leslie, David Toswell, Kate Black, Mike Foreman, Monica Foley, Steve Curry, and Jeremy Harness. Can I have a seconder? I'm going to let Brian Yetman second. Any opposed? All in favor? Seeing and hearing no opposition, I declare the motion carried. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Yetman, to wrap things up.
All right. So am I allowed to do it from here? Is that legal? I have to stand at the podium. Yes, I remember my marching orders. That's right. That's right. Okay. I would now ask for a motion to close the 27th Annual General Meeting. Monica Foley, seconder. Mr. Toswell, all in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, we will consider the meeting closed. Similar to Jeremy's announcement, I'd ask our foundation team to remain back for a special meeting a special meeting of our board of directors. I'd also like to thank everyone once again for attending, and of course to the thousands watching at home as well. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. Thank you very much.